Let's start streaming. Let's start streaming. The streaming is starting. The streaming is starting. Ah. I'm starting a glitch band. This is my glitch band. Melon. It's called the Melon Experience. Okay, I'm done. Sorry, guys. I'm done. I'm sorry. I'm done. I really am done this time. I'm really done. It says 66 people are watching. That can't be right. Just 66 of you? That's a lie. YouTube. That's a big fat lie. All right, guys. I hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing okay. First live stream of 2018. Our nightly Thursday live streams, Q&A live streams. We do them every other week. Nightly on Thursdays, unless otherwise noted. To kind of keep updates on that, I guess check my Twitter account if things change. Sorry I didn't do one last week. I was on vacation. I was on a real-ass vacation, my first real-ass vacation since I think I started the needle drop. And I didn't go anywhere. It was just like, me just chilling out, like not working, enjoying the company of my family and all that stuff. So, which is always good, which is always nice, actually, spending the holidays with your loved ones. So, all right, guys, as you know, this is a Q&A live stream. We're taking super chats. We're taking questions. If those dry up from the chat, but you know how the super chats work. The higher amounts stay on the board longer, increasing the likelihood that I'm going to get to your question, though I will try to get to all of them. And I've been so on vacation, I haven't even listened to some of the suggestions from the last live stream. I suck, I know, but we're going to get through all these questions. I guess just try to stick to questions as opposed to suggestions and have you heard blah, 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 because, I guess, the likelihood that I'll answer your question with something interesting and actually make it worth your while is probably greater, but there you go. All right, guys, let's see. Since you're officially a member of Brockhampton now and you heard the demos, you think team effort may be totally different? Also, thank you for the Insta-follow. I don't know if it's going to be totally different. I don't know if I necessarily took the moodier, guitar-driven direction of the drafts as sort of being the shape of Brockhampton to come. To me, it sounded like that was something that they were kind of doing all along, but maybe they just didn't slip enough of those tracks into, the saturation records because they just wanted to hit people with bangers. And also, that may be how a lot of these tracks sounded at first, but then they kind of built them up into something more aggressive or added more synths or took the guitars out or whatever. So, honestly, I'm really not sure what to expect of team effort. I'm going to expect it's going to be great. But stylistically, I'm really not sure what to expect. I hope there's some change. I hope there's some surprises. And I guess that's all I'm kind of pulling for right now outside of greatness. Where's the classic review, man? The classic review is in the one classic review? You mean Classics Week? That is this coming week. That's this coming week. I'm going to do a Jeff Rosenstock review real quick. The King Gizzard review will be the following week, but Classics Week is this coming week. When talking about one's favorite albums ever, what's a good cutoff? Like, would one's top 25 albums be a good frame for favorite albums ever or a high? Honestly, I'm not really sure because personally, I have so many favorite albums. And whenever people bring up this idea to me, hey, what are like the 10 albums you'd want to listen to on a desert island for the rest of your life? I just want to curl up in a ball and die. Really, I'm not sure. I guess 25 is a nice number. 25 is a nice number. Not going to deny that. Not too few, not too many. So, if you feel like 25 fits naturally for you, I'd go with 25. Hey, Anthony, there's a dope dubstep genre called Rhythm. That's got a lot of buzz this past year. And the one before, some artists are Karima, Emelian Wonk, Bomber. Would love to hear your thoughts on it. Okay, I'll save that. I'll try it out. Thank you for the suggestion. Let's see. Have you ever listened to any Brazilian music? I most likely have, but I don't really have like a stack of favorite Brazilian albums or anything to sort of pick off the top of my head. Oh, come on. Come on. There we go. Here we go. What has been your favorite country that you have gone to holiday to? I mean, I've gone to holiday to Canada. I haven't really been on a lot of holidays outside the country. You know, I've been to Australia a few times and I love that place. And wife and I are going to Ireland this year, I think. So going to have fun over there. So I guess maybe you'll hear from me talking about that when I get back on the Fantano channel or something. Top 3 video game soundtracks. Mine are Shadow of the Colossus, Kid Icarus Uprising, and Fire Emblem Awakening. I'd probably go older because, you know, I'm obviously older. I'd probably throw like Secret of Mana or Chrono Trigger in there. Probably throw Donkey Kong Country in there, and probably throw like some old Tony Hawk shit in there because that's like a bunch of old punk music and shit. But yeah, those are some of my favorites. Could you think of an artist or band, modern or old, who has more than one 10 out of 10 in their discography? John Coltrane, Pink Floyd, Corey Feldman. Corey Feldman, definitely. Pink Floyd and John Coltrane, you kind of just named 2 right there. More than one 10 out of 10? I would say... the Beatles have more than one 10 out of 10. I would say... Who else has more than one 10 out of 10? I would say Outkast has more than one 10 out of 10. I think David Bowie has more than one 10 out of 10. I think a lot of artists out there have more than one 10 out of 10. Thank you very much, Mark Haddon, for the support there. Which E piano is better, Fender, Rhodes, or a Wurlitzer? Ooh, that's a good question. I do like the Rhodes a little bit more. I think I like the tone of the Rhodes a bit more. It's a little bit smoother. It's a little bit more serene, but I guess it kind of depends on what tone you're going for. I think the Wurlitzer is a little bit more tinny, has a bit more bite to it, in my opinion. Again, I guess it kind of depends on what tone you're going for, but personally, I do prefer the Rhodes. Hey, Anthony, how do I find underground people like Billy Woods? With thanks from Norwalk, Connecticut. I think, honestly, I just saw a hip-hop site blogging about Billy when I was just kind of, on the search for new music. So, I mean, I guess just try to find tastemakers and curators out there who are picking good stuff and, see who they turn you on to. Also, look at Billy Woods, look at his Backwoods Studios label, because he has some other artists on there who are kind of similar in style and tone, and you may like some of them too. I think he has a new Henry Canyons project coming out soon. Vic Ish Cruz, thank you very much for that, $10. Have I ever listened to any Brazilian music? Yes, I have. I have listened to some Brazilian music. Everybody asking about Brazilian music, suggest some Brazilian music. While you're at it, por favor. I didn't say that because I'm just sort of throwing in some Spanish there as a joke. I know you guys. I just did that as a joke. Don't take anything by it. Not that what the frig. There we go. Let's see. I have never heard you say anything about John Mayer. Thoughts on his music and guitar playing? Also, go on Come Town. I find John a little boring. Don't really have any deep thoughts about John's music or anything. I just find him kind of drab and uninteresting. However, as a person, he seems mostly nice, I guess. It seems like he has a bit of a sense of humor about himself, but generally I just find him boring and uninteresting. Little Skies, I have no opinions on Little Skies. I don't even think I've heard Little Skies music, so I guess I'll save that and sort of see if Little Skies is the next hottest thing. Friendly reminder that you only gave Hobson a 4 because you didn't listen to his new album backwards. That is true. If I didn't listen to Hobson's new album backwards, or if I did, it most likely would have been a 10 out of 10. But honestly, that was me being insecure with myself because I couldn't possibly let Hobson have a 10 out of 10. That would have just ruined my brand. So I just had to totally wreck his record with a 4, even though I knew in the back of my head that if I gave his album a 10 out of 10, it would have been the truth. It would have been the reality of the situation. And album of the year. Hey, Anthony, what, if any, are your favorite books concerning music? Thanks for all the continued YouTube output. You're the best. I've actually been reading David Byrne's How Music Works lately. It's pretty enjoyable. I just got through the second chapter. The first chapter is pretty intriguing. He has some, not all of it is cited, but he has some pretty interesting theories and observations on how technology has kind of influenced music. One of the most poignant of which, in my opinion, was him talking about microphone technology and how microphones basically influence people to sing certain ways. Like you wouldn't even have crooning if not for the whole trend of the microphone and amplification. It allows you to be able to sing more quietly and more intimately in a way that before, you had to be able to sing loudly in order to project to an entire audience. So I found that pretty interesting. And I guess, I'll keep you guys up to date, and we'll most likely do a bit of a short little book review, I guess, once I finish it. It's been my goal to make sure that I read more in 2018. Closer or Despacito, which is better or worse? I don't know, maybe Despacito, but not really for any other reason other than I'm just a little annoyed by it right now. What is your opinion on synthwave, specifically the darker side? Is it just another meme like all other wave genres? Or does the growing fan base among metalheads mean anything? I don't think it's a meme genre, and I don't really connect synthwave with a lot of the other wave genres. Like, I don't really connect synthwave with friggin' Simpson wave and Zelda wave and chill wave and vapor wave and all that stuff. Like, synthwave is really kind of its own thing and is greatly influenced by a lot of the very synth-driven 80s styled, electronic music that came out decades ago. Like it's not like it doesn't have its precedence. It does. So, it just kind of happens to have wave in its name, just as new wave does. And you wouldn't necessarily say new wave is a meme. No, I think it's a very legitimate genre and has some cool records and cool artists. And actually, the fact that you bring up that metalheads seem to be taking to it is pretty interesting. I could see metalheads getting into synthwave. Hey, Antoine, Revival really sucked a lot, but I've never heard your opinion on previous M classics. What's your opinion on Marshall Mathers LP and Slim Shady LP? I had a copy of Slim Shady LP and Marshall Mathers LP when I was a kid, and back in the day, I loved the shit out of those records. I think Slim Shady has mostly held up. Marshall Mathers has definitely held up. I don't know if I would give either of them a 10, though. But I think they're both very good rap records, and certainly two of the better ones and more notable ones of that decade, especially given just how popular Eminem is and how he sort of took the industry and the whole genre by storm. Are there any more collaboration videos in the works? I have a collaboration video coming out with my dudes over at I fucking hate that. What the fuck is it? The IFHT. I fucking hate that. They asked me to shoot a video clip for their YouTube channel, which I'm going to get together very soon. So this really cool guy, Nick Elward, he makes some pretty funky music and just released an album, Alive on Screen. Have you heard it? No obligation to listen at all if you haven't. Well, okay, I'm not. I'm glad. I'm glad there's no obligation, but I will save the suggestion and sort of see what's up. Thank you very much, Noah. I know your name's not Noah, Serrated Boy. I just saw that a guy named Noah donated $1. Thank you very much. What are your thoughts on Jeff Rosenstock's pre-solo stuff like Bomb the Music Industry and Aesop? I think Bomb the Music Industry is okay. As a band, I always found their music like a little bit too uppity and somewhat annoying. I feel like with Jeff's solo stuff, there's kind of an element of, it's very moody, it's very downtrodden, and I feel like his lyrics in a solo capacity are a little bit more introspective, and I feel like he's not afraid to take kind of narrative risks that he wasn't when he was in Bob the Music Industry. So I do prefer his solo stuff, honestly. Bob the Music Industry had been on my radar, but they just never really excited me personally. Do I do request reviews? What do you think of Basement Jaxx? Have I covered their music? I swear I did a review of them, maybe. But maybe I didn't. I really want to know your opinion on this group, especially the album Junto. I think they're okay. You know, not one of my favorite electronic groups out there, but some of their recent material I thought was very good. Surprising, considering how long they've been at it. Hey, Anthony, have I heard the Wonder Years frontman Dan Campbell's side project Aaron West and the Roaring Twenties? I have not. I can't say I'm a really big Wonder Years fan, though. I'd be interested to know if his side project is really anything like the Wonder Years music, though, especially given the name of it right there. That's a pretty interesting name to name a side project. Does anybody sort of dress like they were around during Prohibition and, I don't know, play some Dixieland shit? Let me know. What's your opinion on Eurobeat? I think underrated style of electronic and pop music. Really annoying at the time when I was a kid when it was popular, but in retrospect, like pretty hilarious, fun, and revolutionary. What are your thoughts on Jethro Tull? One of the best prog bands ever. Ian is an amazing flute player. And Thick as a Brick and Aqualung are pretty much flawless fucking records. Let's see. Do I ever think about reviewing OSTs? Occasionally, and I have done, you know, some in the past, but honestly, it's something I'm kind of lukewarm on, given that soundtracks are usually just there to support the visuals going on, so it's kind of hard for me to listen to a soundtrack in the same way that I would an album necessarily. I feel like I would have to be like intimately familiar with the show, and honestly, I have not jumped on the Stranger Things train like a lot of people have. My wife seems to love it, though. Shout out to her. Twice. This is the second time I mentioned my wife in a live stream. What's going on with that? Also, Brazilian music recommendation. Hell yeah. Saving that. Thank you very much, Ben. Of the 3 classic melodic death metal albums, The Jester Race by In Flames, Slaughter the Soul by At the Gates, and the Gallery by Dark Tranquillity, melodic death metal albums, those are the 3 classic of the so no Carcass? No Carcass in there? No Carcass in the 3 classic melodic death metal albums? I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know if I would put Dark Tranquillity in there over Carcass, honestly. But what is your question? I mean, I guess you said you listed them, but I don't know. Is there a question? I guess if I have any response, it's that if I was going to name 3 classic melodic death metal records, I would have to put Carcass in there. I could not overlook Heartwork. I couldn't. Hey, Antoine, where do you think the line is between melancholy and melodrama in music in terms of where you think empathy disconnects and makes the music, at least its lyrical content, sucky? I think it just kind of comes down to the shallowness of the lyrics and the narrative and just kind of, you know, what exactly you're trying to get the audience to connect emotionally with. You know, like if the things you're trying to get the audience to connect emotionally with are tawdry and really vapid, then I think that's kind of the mark of melodrama. Opinions on lo-fi hip-hop and thoughts on producers like Ronnie J and Bobby Johnson. I think Ronnie J is killing it right now, number 1. And number 2, lo-fi hip-hop, I mean, it's kind of cool. It's kind of fun. It just kind of seems like ambient chill-out music, but sort of in a hip-hop vein, because that's kind of become the zeitgeist right now, and it sort of seems to be seeping into everything. I mean, lo-fi hip-hop has been a thing since before this recent string of lo-fi hip-hop producers sort of putting together these beat compilations and just kind of like live streaming them on YouTube. Like it's just not, you know, a new thing. It's just kind of a new trend, I guess. It's not a new sound, it's a new trend. And I think it's okay. I don't hate it and I'm not against it. Oh, here's another delicious suggestion. Thank you very much. Some of those Brazilian bands do not fuck around, though, so I am kind of excited about that. There we go. Would you consider doing a weekly/monthly review of independent music submitted directly to you? This would help up-and-coming musicians get heard. If you have great exposure, you could even monetize this. I don't know how much exposure it would get. When I review more obscure music on the channel, people tend to just kind of tune it out, which is sad. I would like for people to sort of jump on board with more obscure records and artists that I do reviews of. And, you know, I do review independent music that is submitted to me when and if it actually surprises me, and I think it's special, and I think it's actually worth talking about and sharing with you guys, you know, because at that point, it's so obscure that to me, if it's not an out and out recommendation, I'm not just going to hop on camera to just be like, hey, here's this obscure album that nobody ever heard of, and I think it's shit. So, I mean, I am listening to a lot of the links and seeing a lot of the emails that people send me all the time. You know, hey, here's my band. Hey, here's my band. Hey, here's my mixtape. Hey, here's my mixtape. Hey, here's my friend's mixtape. I am checking that stuff out, and I am reading my email. So, you know, and when something does come across my desk that is surprising to me, I make sure to either, you know, talk about it somewhere or share it on social media. So I'm not completely outside of doing that. Check out Sons of the Sea, The Cure or The Smiths. Oh, wait, okay, I'll check out that. The Cure, The Smiths. I think I'm more of a Cure person. Why? I just feel like the darkness and the moodiness of their music, and I just find them to be less obnoxious than Morrissey. And, you know, that's not a total knock against the Smiths. There are records of theirs that I enjoy quite a bit, like The Queen is Dead, I feel like Morrissey's pretentiousness doesn't totally ruin the Smiths. It's just like a kind of a grating thing sometimes. And Hanson is better than the Beatles. No, that's subjectively wrong. Hey, Anthony, I was wondering if you've listened to much Elliott Smith. Yes, I have. His self-titled record is my favorite. If so, do you have a preferred record? Yes, I just told you that without reading your question all the way through. Personally, I love Figure 8. Figure 8 is great. I just love kind of the stripped-back, skeletal, creepy, almost like, I don't know, just eerie intimacy of the self-titled record. And just the songwriting is so incredible that you don't really need to play those songs with much more pop or aggression than he does, because it's just like the writing is so incredible. Did I ever listen to the band Days of the New? I have not. If you did, what is your take on their music? In my opinion, one of the most underrated bands of the late 90s. I haven't even heard that band. Late 90s. There were some pretty rough rock records in the late 90s, though. You know, was it some nu metal? Was it some post-grunge? I don't know. But I am curious. Happy New Year! And I hope you and the channel have a good fucking year. Excuse me. Have I read Ben Ratliff's? I'm disgusting, I'm sorry. I'm just sick. Every Song Ever, 20 Ways to Listen to an Age of Musical Plenty. I highly suggest it. That sounds like an interesting suggestion, especially given that I am trying to read more in 2018. So it would be cool to have more potential music picks on that reading list. Thoughts on Kate Bush? She's amazing. Big Boy cited Kate Bush as a big influence. That's great. Bjork has too. Yeah, she is incredibly influential and cutting edge and ahead of the curve in a lot of ways, and made pop progressive in a way that was way ahead of her time and unlike any of her contemporaries. Would you want a Big Boy / and Bjork collab? Ooh, I don't know about that, honestly. I don't know if I would. You introed your last two reviews with drumsticks or synth LP when. Did I get a Celestiphone? Or did I listen to Celestiphone? I have not. Although let me write a reminder to do that. Let me write a reminder of myself to do that. No, but I have not. LP when, I'm not sure, though I know Cal Chichester is working on a mixtape this year. I can promise that. Have you seen Call Me by Your Name? The official soundtrack is fire. I haven't. Call Me by Your Name. Call Me by Your Name. No, I have not. Although I think I've been hearing a lot about this movie, and I'm actually going to try to make the effort to see it. I've been hearing a lot of reviews and seeing it being like talked about on NPR and shit. So I'm actually going to try to make the effort to see it. I probably should see more movies this year. I didn't see shit for movies in 2017, so I should probably remedy that. Would I consider having a fan remix production context for the next Cal tape, or at least release acapellas? Best wishes, my dude. Actually, that's a really good idea. I could see myself releasing a series of Cal acapellas. It's a good idea. I promise that will happen. Cal mixtape, there will be acapellas. Thoughts on The Who? Great band, classic band. Not one of my favorite British acts, but actually super cutting edge, you know. Teenage Wasteland for its time, super cutting edge song, especially with the production on that track. The synths, the production on that thing were just like so incredible. That just cannot be, excuse me, underestimated. I love how a lot of the bands of their time, that whole British invasion thing, like each group and each artist really went in their own direction down the road. And the Who have an interesting trajectory. Though they didn't end up in the most interesting place to me, it is still an interesting trajectory. Have I heard of the British post-punk band Snapped Ankles, who I think have a real pop group, a certain ratio vibe to them? If so, thoughts? I haven't. Are they a new band? I'm going to save the suggestion because I'm always down for some friggin' British post-punk. That's just so up my fucking alley. God. Okay, got that. Have I listened to Brad Stank? He only has 4 songs, and I think they definitely deserve some attention. A blend of hip-hop, R&B, and sex with some very interesting sounds. Real quick listen, 10 minutes. I've not listened to Brad Stank, admittedly. I don't know many people who have, but the name is certainly an interesting one, and I have a feeling that with a name like that, I'm probably going to be hearing more about Brad Stank in the future. Music writers and fans are constantly inventing new genre terms. Does it clear things up, or is it just pretentious? Also, could we non-Americans get a country music starter kit at some point? I could see myself doing that. And I feel like genres in the long run are better for classifying and defining things and sort of organizing things. I feel like when genres hurt, though, is when you throw a lot of artists in there that don't necessarily ask to be in that genre or be a part of that movement necessarily, and then there becomes this bubble of interest, sort of like what happened with Chillwave, where all of a sudden everybody was obsessed with Chillwave, and then immediately after the Chillwave bubble popped, then it's like almost every artist who was in that genre was just thrown into obscurity or were forced to do something different stylistically because everybody was just like acting as if like, oh, well, Chillwave's over, it's dead now, which is just kind of unfortunate. I wish that didn't end up playing out in the way that it did, but it did. So I feel like that's when genres sort of have negative connotations. Or just sort of bad baggage. Don't make up a genre that you're going to abandon like 3 months later or like, next year. Like if you're going to come up with a genre term or try to coin a movement, like actually make sure it's something you're going to try to stick by. Hey, Anthony, should review the new Jeff Rosenstock. I will, and Titus Andronicus. There's new Titus Andronicus. And maybe even check out my Bandcamp. Oh, maybe I should check out your Bandcamp? Well, maybe I should. But I didn't know there's a new Titus Andronicus. Am I missing something? Best Coheed and Cambria album. I do not speak Italian. I cannot stand Coheed and Cambria. I'm sorry, I cannot. It's the vocals just grate on me so much. I just cannot get into it. And their music just seems so epic too, and everybody's so friggin' hype over them. And I know that there are bands out there like, Mars Volta. Like it just kind of makes sense that because I like one, I should probably enjoy the other. But I just cannot get into Coheed. I just cannot. I'm sorry. Opinion on power metal. It's just too much. It's just too fucking much. Like, I feel like it's everything great about heavy metal, but just advanced to the point where it almost just becomes a meme. Although, there are some Dragon Force songs that I like, but, maybe ironically though. But Dragon Force is definitely the most epic power metal band in my opinion. Because again, they're so extravagant and they're so over the top that you just can't help but admire them. Hey, Anthony, who would you rather bang? Overweight Kodak Black or transvestite Tom York? Oh my God. Listen, Tom York doesn't need to be a transvestite version of himself for me to bang him. He's beautiful as is. So I would probably go with Tom York. I'd give Tom a big wet kiss. That's me trying to answer this gross question. I fucked up my question. Of these 3 Melodeath albums, which is your favorite? Okay. I would probably have to pick At the Gates. I'd probably have to pick At the Gates. Thank you for coming through and fixing your question. But still, man, no Carcass? No Carcass? Oh, come on, man. What the heck? These things keep disappearing on me. Here we go. Okay. Could you please say, Tariq, your memes suck for me? That's all. Okay, I did. I said that. I hope Tarek, your memes suck. Hope I said that right. Hope I said it the right way. Tarek, I don't know. What are your thoughts on ASMR? I watched one video and it made me really uncomfortable. Also, what's your favorite non-Nintendo game? As a practice, I like it. I have engaged in a little bit of ASMR myself. I think it's really fun to make. However, me personally, I don't see the appeal in it. I do get what people get out of it, but it personally doesn't stimulate me in that way. You know, though I have had some like really weird eardrum tickles while listening to some ASMR, but it's not really something that I guess I seek out, you know. So the best song I discovered because of you in 2017 is Memories Are Now by Jessica Hoop. Did you revisit it? When are you preparing your singles of the year list? One of the best songs I've ever heard. Thanks. That's true. That probably should have made it onto my singles of the year list, and it didn't because I suck. But I already dropped that list. But you're right. That is one of the better singles of the year, and that was a pretty good record. And I'm looking forward to seeing what she does in the future. Let's see. I got that. What do you think of the new Car Seat Headrest and MGMT singles from December? What are your thoughts on CSR recording, Twin Fantasy? Nothing on CSR and Twin, but I did like the new Car Seat Headrest single, if we're thinking of the same one a lot. If we're thinking of the same ones, the same one quite a bit. And the new MGMT singles, in my opinion, have been fucking fire. I'm like anticipating this to be one of their best records, honestly. The new direction seems like really experimental, really dark, yet kind of bringing back those amazing elements of pop and psych pop that they've championed for so long. Hey, Anthony, Happy New Year. How much snow did you guys get up there? Call Me By Your Name is amazing, by the way. You absolutely should see it. Kudos to the guy who recommended before. We have a lot of snow, and after this, I was probably going to get a little bit of shoveling done. We don't have quite the 12 inches of snow that some of the forecasts predicted, but we got quite a bit of snow. In the Hobson review, you talked about how he had all the reach, but no taste. Could you tell a bit more good and bad taste in songwriting, and what are some examples? I feel like probably another example of bad taste would most likely be, and this is probably like the same exact dynamic, like tons of technical ability and then tons of bad taste would probably be the new Eminem record. Again, kind of suffers from the same lack of tact, but also with Eminem, you can't deny his technical ability. And you're also talking about bad taste in terms of production with how badly mixed and assembled some of those songs were. So hopefully that, with another major example there, hopefully that illustrates my point. Wow, Andreas sent in $100. That is incredibly appreciated. Thank you so much. That's huge. Is rock music dead, and what can bring it back to the top in 2018? Also, what are your thoughts on industrial music scene 2018? I haven't followed the industrial music scene in 2017 to 2018 that deeply, honestly, so I'm not exactly sure where it's at or where it's headed. But as far as bringing rock back, I don't really think rock is going anywhere. It's still going to be there as a genre. It's still going to be there as an institution. It's just not the zeitgeist right now. And I mean, do we want it to be the zeitgeist again? I mean, honestly, all I'm pulling for is good music. Is it rock music? Is it rap music? Is it electronic music? Is it some other unknown genre that is going to come up in the next few years that we've never heard of before? Whatever it is, truly and honestly, that's really all that matters. Like that there's creativity there and it's quality music. If rock music wants to come back, I feel like it needs to get back in touch with its sense of rebellion, its risk-taking, its experimentation, its wild attitude. I feel like all of that needs to come back and in spades, because that sort of outlaw aesthetic is what is attracting a lot of people to many of these SoundCloud rappers who, they're kind of the new rock stars right now. And that's the thing, like rock musicians don't really want to be rock stars anymore. They don't want to be larger than life figures. Like they don't want to, sort of put on a show, and they don't want to, sort of present themselves in this gargantuan light. It kind of sucks. And, there are certainly some people contemporarily who do that. I think Jack White is a prime example. But I feel like it's not a practice that is running that deep within rock music right now. I did an interview with Alice Cooper once, and it's on the main channel, and he kind of talked about the same exact phenomenon. And, I feel like that's a big factor. But on top of that, even if that all manages to come back, will this new generation want to have rock be the soundtrack to its attitude, to its rebellion? And I'm not exactly sure, honestly, because I feel like each generation is going to try to define itself by different terms, different art movements. And I feel like we just need to just let that happen and just let the chips fall where they may, as opposed to just worrying about how relevant certain genres are, because it's really all about the attitudes and expressions of a generation making that art, and not so much about whether or not a certain movement or genre is popular. Needle Drop, do you play video games? And if so, what games are better than a light to decent 7? I play a lot of Super Smash Brothers. I play a lot of Zelda too, although I swore to myself in 2018 I was going to play less video games, read more books, and play more music. So I may sort of be off video games for a little bit in 2018. I stopped listening to your Rosalia review after the first minute and dove in. Thanks. How many job offers have you received from major music publications and record labels? None. No job offers. And I don't really think they could offer me a job, because it would be really weird, because they would kind of take my voice and it would kind of distract from whatever their voice is. Although digitalmusicnews.com did ask me if I wanted to write a column for them this year, and I'm still considering it. Most likely yes, but I'm still thinking of that. But for the most part, I'm pretty busy with what I'm doing here, and do pretty well doing it. So I don't really need to jump ship or anything, or try to take jobs anywhere else. Oh, come on. What the heck? Oh, come on. Oh, so aggravating. There we go. What is your favorite Beatles album and best song? I think my favorite Beatles album is probably the White Album, and Helter Skelter is amazing. Myrtle, thank you very much. If I'm saying that correctly, incorrectly, I apologize. I've wasted 350 KR on this. I don't know what that currency is. Let's see. Mad Villainy is overrated. I think Food is better than both Mad Villainy and Operation Doomsday. Both Operation Doomsday has best songs. I think Operation Doomsday, in comparison with Mad Villainy, is not better, honestly. Like, maybe structurally some of the songs are better, because Mad Villainy does kind of have this quality of just being really linear and being really off the cuff. And maybe if that's what you enjoy, I sort of see it. But I mean, the production on Mad Villainy is objectively better than on Operation Doomsday. But I could see some hardcore fans enjoying Food more, though. I mean, I think the songs on that record are a little bit more fleshed out. I feel like conceptually it's a tighter record, because you do have a lot of the songs kind of circling around these themes of food. So I'm not against that statement. Anthony, thanks as always. Do you think Kanye West has the potential to pull another album 10 like College Dropout? Can you say, Sammy G, please refollow Aced on Twitter? Also, fuck J. Cole, by the way, get it? I think Kanye probably has another 10 in him. And a lot of people would say that My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is a 10. So, I mean, he already, I think he has another classic in him, probably. Hey, Melon, loved your piece on Ben Shapiro. Please do more. Have you heard of the band Sown? I have, but I'm not a big fan. If not, you need to listen to them. Also, do you think Mac Miller will drop a project this year? It's been a while. I think he will. I think Mac Miller probably will. I'm going to come out with my video for my most anticipated records of 2018 the day after Classics Week. So look for that, and I'll try to remember to add Mac to the list. Thoughts on the band Tool and their hopefully upcoming studio album? Do you plan on reviewing Tool in the future? Hell yes, I do. And yes, Tool has, in a way, sort of, kind of teased toward a 2018 album. If there is one, I'm looking forward to it. I hope it happens. It would be amazing if there was another Tool album this year. I'm actually kind of psyched for the Perfect Circle record this year, too. Like, the teaser tracks from that have sounded good. And Tool, I think, is a great band. You know, definitely one of the better alternative metal bands and progressive bands of their era. I mean, certainly better than a lot of the new metal shit that came out around that time. Oh, wondering if I have heard of Six Dogs, really great and upcoming cloud rap style suggested last time. I have not, but I'll try to recall that and see if I get a chance to listen this week at some point, although I'm not sure. I got to bang out that classics week so that everybody gets their classics. And after all of this is over in the chat, I'll take some suggestions on classics because I have one spot open that I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to fill it with. You missed my last donation. I apologize for that. Anyway, thoughts on Big L. IMO could have made some solid albums. I know. And that's kind of like the thing about Big L that I feel like is always a part of the conversation. You know, the one record he did drop, it's really good. You know, I wouldn't say it's up there with like an Illmatic, though. You know what I mean? I feel like he had incredible potential, though. Like the lyricism, the technical ability, like it was amazing. And I feel like it's just that lost potential, unfortunately. It's just really sad. You know, that's really kind of all you can say about it. But maybe that would be a good classic review. Maybe that would be a good classic review. Although I don't know. I've kind of, maybe I'll throw that in there. I'm not sure yet, but I will take some suggestions on that later. Let me clear my throat. Did Brian, previously Rich Chiga, make the right choice in changing his stage name? Bonus, why do you think Fashion Killa by A$AP Rocky is so horrible? My girl laughs out loud every time that chorus plays through. The fact that your girl laughs at it is exactly why it's bad. And number two, to go back to the Brian question, I think it was a right move. Honestly, like a lot of people have been kind of bugging me about it, saying like, oh, you think he caved into the blah, 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 blah. Like, I think he was getting some flack for having that name. Although I don't think it was really as controversial as maybe some writers and some people on social media would like people to believe. Like, the dude already had tons of fans. The dude already had tons of cred, even with that name. I think he ended up changing it probably for marketability purposes. Like, I don't know how places like iTunes are going to feel about, like, you know, putting a record up from a Rich Chiga, you know, on like the front page or whatever. Like, at the end of the day, I think it all just kind of comes down to marketability. You know, much in the same way that Tyler changed his album title from Scum Fuck Flower Boy to Flower Boy. And that's kind of just how I see it, honestly. I remember ages ago you made a few videos at a festival where you kind of reviewed the acts at the end of each day. Will I ever do something like that again? Who do I want to see live in 2018? Yeah, I mean, I'm open to doing that again, although I haven't gone to a festival in a while. The last festival I went to was Primavera Sound. I'm not sure if I'm going to go to a festival this year. So, what did I think of the new OC's album? I'm going to be talking about it in the next Why You Know review, which should be dropping this week. I thought it was okay, you know, definitely a more experimental folk vibe to it, as opposed to their most recent album that I reviewed and threw up on my favorite albums of the year list. It's decent, you know, wasn't crazy about it though. Did you catch Deliverance from the Godless Void by Desolate Shrine in 2017? I have not. Soul-vanquishing, cacophonous black/death metal. Also, what did I think of Kawitnessins by Dodecahedron? I have not been able to get into Dodeca, honestly. I'm going to save this Desolate Shrine suggestion, though, but I have not heard that record at all. I have to admit that, but again, Dodeca, I really didn't care for their last record, but maybe I should try their new shit and sort of just see what's up. Let me see. Oh, wow. Thank you very much, Myrtle. I appreciate that 2 times. I appreciate it twice. Hey, Anthony Fantano, would I consider a Sonic Youth album when Classic Week rolls around? That's a good suggestion. Possibly. I've gotten a lot of questions about Sonic Youth. Just slammed an I'm Gonna Nut smoothie for dinner. It was nut-tastic. Thanks for the jar. Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad you like the jar. A few people got to me and said that their jar came fucking smashed. I have to send a few more out to them. But to anybody who didn't get their jar fucking smashed in the mail, I'm glad you enjoy it, and I hope you enjoy the smoothie recipes. I'm gonna nut. Thoughts on the band Superorganism. Also, when will the weekly track roundup be back? I don't know about the band Superorganism. I can't really comment, but the weekly track roundup should be back on the 14th or the 21st. It should. I think it'll end up being the 14th, but it'll be back very soon. After Classics Week. Have I ever heard of Chicano Batman? I have. And they're okay, you know, good grooves, nice tight instrumentation. It's pretty funky. You know, I'm not super crazy about it, but, you know, their music's fun. Excuse me. What would it take for you to listen to my album? Anthony at theneedledrop.com. Email it to me. Send me a reminder of this live stream interaction, and I will give it a shot. Do I have any hype for My Bloody Valentine's new album supposedly set to release this year? Whoa, they're going to be back at it, new album? Yes, I have hype for that. I thought their last one was pretty good, although I'm going to assume that this new album is going to be all new material. Last record was like kind of older material and newer material, kind of mixed. Not exactly sure, excuse me, if that's going to be all good. Could really be kind of a rough ride, sort of like that new Slow Dive record, which I disliked a lot. So there you go. Opinions on the SoundCloud producer scene. I think it's good, generally. And to follow up on the whole producers not getting their cut and they should combat it. I think they should combat it, definitely. And I'm actually going to write myself a reminder here. Going to write myself a reminder here to do a video about that on the Fantano channel, because it seems like there's a lot of recent information that has come out in regards to that. But I've already done videos on this before, and producers are getting fucking ripped off, honestly. Like in 2017, in this decade, they're getting ripped the fuck off, especially considering like most of the people are listening to this music by this very average rapper just because of your production, just because of your beat. And you're not getting your just due. You know, there are some producers out there who are really kind of killing it and making a name for themselves, like Metro Boomin, like Zaytoven, for example. But I feel like people need to, you know, if you're a producer, I feel like you need to do better about just like marketing yourself. You know what I mean? Like you have to really put yourself out there. You can't just be this totally behind the scenes person. You have to treat yourself kind of like a celebrity. You know what I mean? Because if you don't, then you're going to be treated like, you know, you're just going to make $500 off of a track that's going to be a total hit. Hey, Anthony, big fan. Obviously, you sent in $50. Holy shit, thank you. What are your general thoughts on Kool Keith? Amazing. In my opinion, at his peak, he was one of the best underground rappers and highly influenced Doom with his cartoony style and costumes. Also, you mind if I hit this? Yeet! I don't mind at all. Kool Keith is great. Like you said, highly influential to Doom. You know, Dr. Octagon, I'm not going to say it's overhyped, but it's definitely not one of my favorite projects. I do think vocally he does tend to go overboard with it a little bit, but I do think he's really cutting edge and ahead of his time. So, you know, I sort of see the influences. I see the ripples that he created in rap music and the mark that he left on the genre itself. But, excuse me, sorry. But, you know, is he in my personal, like, top 5? Not necessarily, but, you know, he is definitely one of the greats out there. Hey, Nuthany or Tano, which New Order album is the best, Low Life or Technique? I would go with, good question. I would say, you know, as much as I like the aesthetic of Technique, I would say Low Life because I do kind of enjoy how stripped back that record is and how quality the songs are track for track. The album cover is ass, though. The album cover on Lowlife is total ass. I'd say Technique, Round and Round is a banger. Also, what are your thoughts on the Pet Shop Boys, Phil Collins, and Hall & Oates? I love 80s synth. Well, if you do love 80s synth, those are certainly the bands you need to be listening to. I'm sure you're probably into some Duran Duran also, and orchestral maneuvers in the dark. Hall & Oates, not so crazy about. Phil Collins, he's got some good singles. Pet Shop Boys are pretty decent. You might be into some Echo and the Bunnymen too. Oh, god damn it. What's your opinion on Walk the Moon? Can't say I'm really all that opinionated on it, honestly. Yeah, it's just not really my bag. William Band, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thoughts on Stromae? He had some really hot singles like a few years ago. Is he still a thing? Like, I felt like he was getting so popular, and he had some sold-out shows over here in the States. And I thought for sure, like, there was like almost going to be a takeover, you know what I mean? And then it seemed like he almost disappeared off the map a little bit. Like, is he still doing well? Is he still killing it? Like, is he still doing numbers? I guess I need to look up his latest stuff. I'm not exactly sure what his latest music is, if he's come out with any music in the past year. But, really good European rapper. For anybody who isn't aware. Hey Melon, have I heard of the Japanese band Gesu no Kiwami Otome? I think I have. If so, what do you think of them? If not, you should give them a try. They're one of the most catchy rock bands out there. Their name is vaguely familiar. Like I think that sort of name would definitely stick out in my brain, almost as if it had been suggested in a previous live stream, but I cannot recall the sound of their music off the top of my head. I typically agree with all your reviews, but found you may have been atypically harsh on the Deftones. Do I think this may have to do with the fact that it mostly translates live, Diamond Eyes Gore especially? I haven't seen the live, so I'm not exactly sure if their music translates better live, but I'll just take your word on that. I think their first few records are very good. Saturday Night, I think, is a really good record. But those two albums that you just referenced there, I do think are not their best. Not their best written, not their best produced. I am pretty harsh on the Deftones' newest material, and that's because I just don't really care for it. And I think their older stuff really set a high bar. But as far as alternative and nu metal bands go, they're certainly one of the better acts out there, of that era. Definitely not a band that you'd want to write off in the same way that you would like a Limp Bizkit or a Saliva or anything like that. I found a Mos Def vinyl of the Ecstatic, and I bought it on a whim. I know the stigma that he hadn't put out a good record since Black on Both Sides, but personally I enjoyed it. Have I any thoughts on it? I think it's like a really interesting album. It's like easily his most experimental record. I remember around that time he was also like kind of like boosting his love for Doom too, so maybe some of that weirdness kind of rubbed off on him. I like it. I don't think it's a perfect album or anything, but I do like how off the beaten path it is, and it sort of makes me wish he would come out with another record because, if he's going to continue to hang in that freaky territory, I would want to hear it. Have I ever listened to the 60s folk singer Jackson C. Frank? What do I think about his debut album in Classics Week? I don't think I have listened to him, honestly. That is a folk singer from the 60s that has completely gone under my radar. I'll save that, though. I have not heard of Jackson C. Frank. I really have not. But thank you for the suggestion. Catherine, are you going to review the latest King Gizzard record? Yes, I am. I'm gonna review it after Classics Week, though, which is next week. Fill that empty Classics Week review with songs for the deaf for ya boy. Lastly, I need a quick meme review of Tide Pod memes. What? Wait, hold on a second. What? Tide Pod memes. Like what? I didn't even know that the Tide Pod memes were a thing. Tide Pod memes compilate. Okay. I know it's soap, but it looks delicious. Okay, I'm going to look into that. I've not gotten into Tide Pod memes. Honestly, guys, since that is the plan has sort of gone under, I have not been keeping up on my memes. So I'm sorry about that. Have I heard of the electronic act Gore shit? I have not. Could Defo wreck his jazz and video game inspired Stank Face, as well as his Semantics series? Met him last fall at a festival. Great guy. Planning a mixtape with him currently. Shout out to Leon. Whoa. Okay, we're getting some tips on some upcoming music. I've not heard of Gore Shit, but I saved that recommendation. I guess I'll see it maybe. Do I think Daft Punk will release an album anytime soon, or One Tricks Point Never in 2018? Maybe OPN, though I have not heard anything about that. And as far as Daft Punk in 2018, Daft Punk tends to really kind of put space between their records these days. I don't know if I would anticipate a Daft Punk record this year. If anything, maybe a live album, but I don't know if any new Daft Punk live record would top a live, though. So I'm not anticipating a Daft Punk record this year. Hi, Mr. Fantano. My name is James Connor Wyke. I'm an independent artist and was wondering, what is the best way to submit my material to you? Thank you, James Connor Wyke. The Sedonas. Anthony at theneedledrop.com. Make a reference to this interaction, and I will try my best to get my ears on it. Sending another chat for my boys, Gene and Dean Ween, because I know if you ever listen to them and we can ever expect a Mullix Classic review this year or later ones, that actually might be a really good Classics review, like a Ween review. A lot of people have the boner for the Ween, and I do get a lot of Ween questions every single time I do a live stream, so I feel like maybe a Ween Classic review would would really kind of put a lot of the Ween questions to bed. Melon, what's your opinion on the jam band music scene? I believe bands like Fish at least deserve a conversation on your channel, and there's way too much technical talent among them to be ignored. Fish's heyday has definitely come and gone, although I cannot say that, I should ignore Fish, though. I've just never really kind of been into the band, and I've never really been into the jam band scene. It's not really been my thing. Though I do definitely give them credit for their technical ability and everything like that. It just really is not my thing personally. I'm not sure. I'm just not sure. I guess I'll try to maybe keep an eye out for the next time Fish does come out with a new record, and just sort of see where it goes from there, or not Fish, but their frontman, if he's working on some new material or something. So I guess I'll just try to keep my mind more open and see where that takes me. Let's see. Hi, Antonio. You just said that you believe that several artists from the past have made more than one 10 out of 10 record. Does that mean you think this decade is vastly inferior? Also, who's better, Kendrick or Lupe? No, I actually don't think this record is, or this decade is inferior. I think this decade's actually pretty good. And also I think, I actually think this decade's pretty great, honestly. I guess I wouldn't agree with that sentiment at all. Also, who's better, Kendrick or Lupe? Kendrick all the fucking way. Do I think you're the most influential music critic out there? Do I think you could get any bigger? I do think I could get bigger. I do think there is room to improve and to grow. I do think I am the most influential right now at this very moment, but will that influence last beyond me and sort of go beyond this decade and go beyond right now? How long will I last? I don't know. That's sort of remained to be seen. I think in order to be a successful and an influential music critic, you probably have to last more than a decade. So let's see if I do that. Let's see. Sending another chat. Got that one. Something wrong. Hold my head. That is the plan gone. A melon dead. Hack fader. They call the feds. Spent that time. Spent that bread. Heading home. Get onto YouTube. To my surprise, PewDiePie, replacing Anthony, had to take him to that ghetto university. I couldn't be happier that over 3,000 people are watching this stream right now. Could not be happier. Finally following a dream and starting a music site, reviews and news. Good for you. and a few friends this year. You're all an inspiration to us. Any advice for us? Thanks for being a great guy. Be consistent. If you guys are multiple friends all together, make sure that you have something to post every day. And make sure that you're giving bold, strong opinions that are super descriptive and informative. Look at your craft as being a service to the reader. And do everything that you can to make sure that what you're doing is helping and entertaining and informing the reader. Thoughts on Lapalux and Doom in 2016 OST? I haven't even heard that. I haven't even heard that. So, I mean, I can't even comment on it, honestly. I haven't even heard that. I didn't even know that happened. I'm such a dumbass. Hey, man, quick question and a comment. A$AP Rocky's upcoming album, excited? Mildly. And comment, I think you should like Isaiah Rashad more. Just FYI, I love your show. I feel like I should like him more too, but I feel like he's kind of just like... I feel like he has a bad long game. You know, he has tracks on every project that are like, whoa, hard track, fantastic track. But then, you know, I feel like eventually pretty much every project he's done so far becomes redundant at some point. However, I feel like there's still room to grow, and he's still out there, and it still seems like he's doing his thing. So, you know, always room and a chance for improvement. You talked about how J. Cole and Kendrick won't work on a collab album, but what about Brockhampton and Russ? Hell no. I would be so depressed if Brockhampton did a collaboration album with Russ. I'd be absolutely depressed. Unless the album title was, "You're a fucking loser if you do drugs." Like, that has to be the album title, and every song has to be about exactly that. That's basically what the song topics need to be about. So that's essentially, that's the only way I would stomach a Russ and Brockhampton collaboration, if it was the most dumb and obnoxious and preachy collaboration ever. Just if they tried to make the worst album of all time. Hey, what's your favorite Death Grips lyric? I think all of my favorite Death Grips lyrics probably come off the song Hacker. Yeah, honestly, I feel like that's where all my favorite Death Grips lyrics come off of. You know, the pregnant snake lyric, Gaga can't handle the shit. Hang out with long hairs, break into the fucking Apple store. Like, I love that. Come back, your shit is gone. This is probably some of my favorite Death Grips lyrics. Please bring back That Is the Plan. It was more effective than 1,000,000 Prozac at treating depression. Oh, that depresses me. That Is the Plan was helping depression, and now it's gone. That makes me sad. Hey, Fantuan, today is my 17th B-Day today. Congratulations. Happy birthday. What's your thoughts on the new U2 album? I think it's boring. And why haven't you reviewed them? Because I think they're boring. They're a fairly huge band. They are a fairly huge band. And for a band that came from the era that they did, they're still incredibly successful. But I don't find them interesting at all. I just don't. I just think they're really, really past their prime, and they're just stale. And for whatever reason, the music industry doesn't want to let go of them. And that's just my opinion. I feel like there's more interesting things going on, personally. Danny Brown said there's only one legendary producer on his new album. Who do I think it is? So is he saying that it's one person producing the whole album, or there's just one producer on the album that is legendary? And who is it? I don't know. Maybe Pete Rock? I know he's still at it, and he's legendary. I don't know if Danny would be on a Primo beat. You know, when I think legendary, I think like golden, like I think 90s. You know what I mean? So like, is it RZA? Is it Primo? Is it Dre? I mean, Pete Rock and Danny, I think, could be cool. And maybe Mad Villain. Mad Villain's friggin' legendary. You know, and I think Mad Villain and Danny would probably work out pretty well, honestly. And maybe he got a Dilla beat. Who the hell knows? What's up, dude? We doing soldierboytellhim.com for Classics Week, right? Yeah, maybe Classics Week from hell. Have I thought of a Primus classic review? Ooh, that would be a wet dream of mine. Seas of Cheese in general, their old albums are solid as fuck. Claypool is an absolute legend. It is true. He's an absolute legend. Seas of Cheese, Frizzle Fry, and Pork Soda, and even like Points of the Brown album are all excellent. You should fill the open slot for Classics Week with Blue Lines by Massive Attack. Ooh, that'd be kind of nice. Or Paris 1919 by John Cale. Loving the live chat. Yes, the live chat I'm sure is kind of fun. Crywank, Burial's new stuff, Wet Dream, Can I Grope You? Oh yeah, that's a tasteful live chat. Hello there, Melon. Thriller being the most successful album ever made, why haven't you reviewed it yet as a classic album? That's actually a good question. I probably should review Thriller this year. Let me see what have I picked so far? I'm not going to spoil all my picks, but honestly, maybe I should review Thriller. Honestly. Maybe Thriller is what I should review. Maybe I should review Thriller. That's good. That's a good suggestion. Mezzanine classic review. I don't know, maybe? You guys are making some good suggestions, I'll say that. Hey, Anthony, are you aware on your new Battles La-Di-Da that you use the single artwork for the track FF Bada rather than the album artwork? No, I guess I wasn't. But there you go. I guess you learn more and more every day. And actually, like, I do still make a lot of mistakes in my reviews. Like, you know, little weird, dumb editing mistakes like that. I think in my recent NERD review, I had the title card drop out faster than the chord hit got there. And then after that, or before that, I said that Travis Scott was based in Atlanta, despite the fact that I knew and I forgot that he moved out to LA. So, and I wasn't saying that he was from there. I know he's from Houston, but I was saying based. But still, I was still wrong. But yeah, I'm dumb. And I have brain farts all the time. And Jeremy and Austin don't catch every single one of them. But yes, I'm a sort of a brain fart prone person. And I actually kind of, you know, I don't like it. I hate that. And I find, you know, I'm very annoyed by it, but I think it is a testament to the quality of my content, given just how many brain farts I have on a regular basis. And you guys aren't just fucking abandoning me left and right. Like, this guy's a dumbass. He forgets things all the time that he should remember. Ugh. Like how to drink properly. My God, I just made a mess. I just made a stupid mess. I made a mess. My dumb ass made a mess. Making a mess. So it's a very sensitive topic, okay? I'm a big fan of Sublime with Bradley, and as I understand it, you may not be into them. Yeah, I mean, I'm into the self-titled. Could you just expand on why Sublime may not be so great? I don't think they're bad. I think they're good. Also, what was your favorite Sublime song? Oh, God. I play the acoustic guitar like a motherfucker. I'm joking. Sublime is a good band. Like, unlike, they were one of the few groups out there that fused elements of folk music, rock music, rap, and reggae, and it just didn't sound like dumb, gimmicky shit. You know, it was like actually quality music. There were a lot of bands and artists out there fusing a lot of those sounds back then in the 90s. And they were all over the radio, Beck and Cake and, you know, Whitey Ford Sings the Blues and, you know, just all that shit. Like, it was everywhere. And Sublime was easily one of the better bands. So, no, I don't dislike Sublime. Hey, Anthony, have you ever heard of Arturo O'Farrell? Some seriously crazy-ass Latin jazz. Check out blah, 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 blah. No, okay. I'll see what's up with that. Thank you for the reco, Brecco. Sing with me. I'm a man on a mission. You're a stripper out of luck. We're good in the backseat, but we're better up front. And there's blood on my knuckles 'cause there's money in the trunk. Keep running out of luck. Keep running out of luck. There you go. I guess send me more song lyrics if you want me to sing, I suppose. This Is Happening versus Sound of Silver. I think the impact socially of Sound of Silver is greater, but personally I do prefer This Is Happening. Personally, Sound of Silver is one of my favorite albums of all time. It's one of my favorite albums of all time, too, despite my preferential treatment of This Is Happening. Hey, Melon, do you only answer questions $10 and up? I wouldn't say I only do, but the chances are $5 ones are disappearing before I get to them, and the $1 and $2 ones don't even pop up in this feed. What's the difference between PayPal and Patreon? Can you review Tupac's All Eyes on Me? Who's weirder, Danny Brown or Ski Mask? Do you agree with abortion? I am pro-choice. I do think Danny is weirder than Ski Mask, although we haven't seen Ski Mask's full potential. I'm not sure if I will review that Tupac album. And the difference between PayPal and Patreon is that you're not really kind of like piling up money into like I don't know, like I mean, there are lots of differences between Patreon and holy shit, Patreon and PayPal. Like it's just such a confusing question. I don't know if I can address it in full in this live stream. I sent a question, but it expired before you got to it. Since I don't know if you're going to get to it later, I'll ask again. Favorite color? Also, are you planning on reviewing some Billy Talent? Not a huge Billy Talent guy, so I'm not exactly sure. I'll say most likely not. And I think my favorite color might be red, or yellow. When I pick things for the house, my wife always seems to observe that I usually pick red things. My favorite angry flannel is red. With your NERD album review, can you rate your least favorite nerd album? I mean, I think my least favorite one is the one previous to the new one. My favorite one is probably their debut. And can I rate them? I would say the debut is at least like an 8, and their 2010 album is I don't know. I'm pretty indifferent toward it. Maybe like a 5 or something. Have I heard Dangerous Jumps by Shredders, POS and Sims from Doomtree's project from this year? Seriously good stuff. I have. Some people suggested that. A lot of bangers on there, though the lyrics didn't really stick with me. It kind of felt like I was listening to I don't know, like a friendlier Run the Jewels or something. It was okay. It was decent. I see the appeal. What do I think of the album Hemispheres by Rush? It's not one of my favorites, but it's pretty slick. It's pretty catchy. How about a Tool album for Classics Week? Considering that they claim they're releasing their new album this year, I was actually thinking of if they do a new album this year, I might even do like a Tool worst to best. So, but I got to get that Bjork one out first, though. Hey, what happened to you coming to the book club the other day? We waited for you. Well, we read chapter 5, just so you know. Okay, well, I'll make sure to read the book. Thank you. I'll come to the next book club meeting. I love you. Brockhampton or Death Grips? I couldn't come up with a good question, so here's my $10. I think I still prefer Death Grips to Brockhampton, although I feel like Brockhampton has great potential, and I may end up enjoying the other more. Who knows? Ooh, crazy. Hello, Anthony. I've been listening to a shit ton of IDM lately. I was wondering what your top 3 Autechre albums are, in order, possibly. Love you. Goddamn, really? Seriously right now? Really right now? What are my top 3? I mean, LP4 is definitely in there. Not LP4, LP5. I'm another fucking brain fart. I'm retarded. Although, I would say like LP5, Try, and Amber. Like Amber's probably my favorite. Excuse me. I'm so sick feeling. Would be interested to hear your thoughts on 2 albums. Mr. Bungle self-titled. Wait, Cynic's Focus out. Well, Cynic's Focus is excellent. Do I like the self-titled as much as like Disco? Not really, but it's still a good record. Not quite as freaky and as I think fully developed as some of their best stuff, in my opinion. Sing With Me. Oh, God. It's really good to hear your voice saying my name. It sounds so sweet, coming from the lips of an angel. Hearing those words, it makes me weak. Have I ever listened to Big Thief? I think I have. Their albums Masterpiece and Capacity have topped year-end lists for the past 2 years, including my own Don't Sleep on Big Thief or Japanese Breakfast. Japanese Breakfast I haven't really cared for all that much, but Big Thief, let me see, Big Thief, I think, yes, okay, I have heard Big Thief, and I keep forgetting who Big Thief is because I kind of find their music boring. So, yeah, I can't say I'm really a fan though, but, you know, still, I'm glad you like them. Do I like Highly Suspect? Not really. I think they're a little corny, and I'm sure you're fully aware of that. But I feel like if you like them, that corniness is probably like, you know, a selling point. But for me, it's not really. I would like to know your thoughts on them. Also, do I think Pearl Jam has any potential for a good upcoming album? No, not really. I mean, Pearl Jam is probably my least favorite major grunge band, and you know, still a good band, still classic records, still good records. You know, but I'm not like a huge fan of them, you know, and I feel like they've really kind of trailed off pretty hard as far as album quality over the years. Thoughts on Jute Geit? Headache inducing, but still pretty fun. Hey, Anthony, thoughts on Jethro Tull? Also, I think your opinion on Radiohead's King of Limbs is way too harsh. It's not one of their best, but I think it has some great tracks, Separator especially. Jethro Tull, excellent band, one of the best prog bands. Love the way that they sort of incorporate, you know, woodwinds and folk music into their stuff. Ian Anderson, excellent player. Aqualung, Thick as a Brick, pretty much perfect records. Hey, Anthony, I've always wondered, are you an IDM fan? I do enjoy some IDM. Was alive during its peak of relevancy, so I do enjoy quite a bit of IDM. I love stuff like Autechre, Aphex Twin, and pretty much anything from Warp Records. I've never seen you review much IDM, though. There's not a whole lot of new IDM out there that I find all that interesting, honestly. You know, but I think you should also get into some Square Pusher as well. He's excellent. Give us some vegan hype. Yo, vegans rule. Vegans are the best. Vegans are #1. Fuck yeah, vegans. Also, when will you review the Naked Brothers Band? Oh, God. I truly believe they are classics up there with the Beta Band. Yeah, the Naked Brothers Band, they classic is a word you could use. Your Rosalia album review was good and got me thinking. For classics, would you review the Buena Vista Social Club album? Love you bunches. I haven't even heard of that record. But I'll consider it. You know, I kind of think I'm sort of honing in on what I think my list this week is going to be, but thank you very much for checking out that Rosalia record. I think it's excellent. Would I prefer disingenuous music that makes you happy, despite being made by sad people, or sincere music that makes you sad, which was made by happy people? Wait, sincere music that makes me sad. That makes me sad made by sad people. Okay, I see what you're saying. I guess personally I would prefer my music to be sincere. Although, you know, here's the thing. Like, a lot of people out there write happy and write sexy music, and they might not necessarily always be feeling that way. You know what I mean? They may be writing happy music because they just want to craft a pop tune, because that's just what they want to do, because that's their passion, or that's what they see as their job. Just because someone may not be feeling happy in that moment where they're crafting a happy song for other people doesn't necessarily make it a bad song, in my opinion. You know, sometimes music can be very methodical, you know, and there's a lot of technical aspects to music that don't necessarily have anything to do with emotion necessarily. You know, we were just talking about Thriller earlier. Look at a guy like Quincy Jones. You know, you think that dude was always in a great mood, you know, but he just wrote some excellent, fantastic, uplifting, very happy, very poppy music, you know. How do I feel about the young, leanish sound coming out of Atlanta, particularly if you know anything about him? Six Dogs, ATL Grandma, Ranger Nick, and Danger Inc. Also, what makes an email stand out? I don't know, man. Emails are all pretty uniform. I would say if you're writing an email and, you know, you're trying to promote music or some shit, I would worry less about I feel like some people are just way too desperate to try to stand out. So they spend the whole email telling you like their fucking life story, which like, you know, listen, it's not even just a personal opinion. Most people sort of digging through these emails do not care. Like most of them, well, a great deal of them want to hear the music and they want to know if the music's good, you know, first and foremost. The people who are out there who are more interested in your story or who are more interested in the context, you know, are probably just going to use that as, you know, fodder for their music website to get clicks and get hype and, you know, basically tell a story about you to captivate readers, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, isn't necessarily a wrong thing. It's a promotional game. I guess if you're going to go that route, I guess try to be as objective as possible and actually make sure the story that you're telling, that you're trying to convey to listeners and to people who may be reading emails is actually a compelling, interesting story. If your story is that you're an average guy and you're just young and you're just working on your first music, I mean, so's everybody. You know, like if your story is unique, then tell that story. If it's not, then maybe just make sure that your music just kind of speaks for itself. Have you ever considered making a channel for voicing your political opinions, or maybe just putting them on your Fantano channel? You seem to be pretty passionate and have passionate views, and I find myself often wondering about your opinions. I would have probably considered doing such a channel before the adpocalypse, and now, like, you know, doing political channels is just like suicide on YouTube, apparently. In the Fantano channel in the future, I could see myself doing it a little bit more in the future. If, you know, Austin would permit. Austin helps me out with that channel, and he fucking hates it whenever I talk about any politics on the channel. He was so blatantly against me doing that dumb Ben Shapiro video, which I feel like I had to do. Like, it wasn't a political video. Ben was stepping in on my territory. He was talking about some arts and culture shit in a really dumb way, and I was coming in to check that mofo. So, anyway. There are there are a lot of things standing in the way of that right now, so that's all I can really say. What is my favorite Animal Collective record? For a while I've said Sung Tongs, and I think it's probably that. And my favorite of their EPs? Their EPs, I'm not really sure, honestly. Although I know you aren't big on the group's solo ventures, what do I think of Person Pitch? I think it's okay. It's another solo venture I'm not really all that crazy about, honestly. Though I did kind of like the weird experimental folky direction of that new AV Tear. I just didn't really get into it enough to do a review. What are my thoughts on Splongle? They're pretty good, though not one of my favorites in the genre, honestly. Do I think audio engineering is a good career choice in this musical era? And, you know, again, thank you, Nick Swift. Thank you, Nick Swift. Thank you. Thank you, Nick Swift. Thank you. Do I think audio engineering is a good career choice in this musical era? Are avocados underrated? And your favorite fruit? Favorite fruit is probably apples or bananas, but I'm also kind of on an orange kick right now. Avocados, I don't think are underrated. I think they're rated appropriately. A lot of hype for avocados out there. And I think it's a good career choice if you're good at it. You know, it's not a good career choice if you suck. And audio engineering, again, it's like the likelihood that you would get a job at a major or a big or a decent studio. It's tough. There's a lot of competition, you know, and most likely you would need to probably start your own shit in order to really kind of make it. So I guess it's just kind of a matter of whether or not you're really willing to take those risks. Ghosts of the Great Highway classic review when? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Probably asked before, but would you ever do a worst to best on Pink Floyd? Their discography is a little too huge for me to want to bite off right now. The next worst to best will probably be shorter discography, shorter, you know, 4 to 5 albums, something like that. Tangerine Dream Virgin Years versus Kraftwerk. Oh, I would have to go Kraftwerk, honestly. Like the whole Kraftwerk discography versus just the Virgin Years of Tangerine Dream, Kraftwerk all the way. I personally think the vocals take away from the krautrock synth sound. I don't think so. Also, would you ever think of doing a commissioned best to worst? IDK what to do to get you to do Ariel Pink, by the way. An Ariel Pink one might be fun, but I think he's still coming out with some of his better stuff, so I wouldn't probably jump at the opportunity to do that. You know what I mean? And I don't know how much it would take to do a commissioned one. I'm really not sure. Do I think Brockhampton could make a 10 out of 10 album? Yes, I do think they could. If so, what do I think they would need to improve on? I think they would need to maybe just strike a bit more instrumental or emotional variety across the track list. I think maybe they would have to get ever so slightly, like maybe a little, conceptual with it or thematic with, the flow of the record. I think they would probably have to do a few more just like topical tracks. You know what I mean? Hey Tofu Tony. Oh, that's a good one. I think I've done that, or people have said that to me before. I probably should say that more often. Have I heard the Talib Kweli album, Radio Silence? I haven't. If so, thoughts, love you. I've been pretty cold, honestly, on like his past couple of projects. And I don't know if I'm going to make the time to listen to this new one. Like some people tell me it's pretty good, but I really don't know how much I'm expecting from it. Probably not a whole lot. I feel like Talib, he's talented. No doubt. But I feel like he's just kind of like resting on his laurels a little bit, playing the expectations and not really taking that many risks as of late. And seeing him try to go commercial with some of his more recent material has been kind of a turnoff. Band/artists you think are most likely to release a 10 soon? Any album since T-Pab that you were close to giving a 10? I guess I was close to giving the new Father John Misty and the new Mount Erie 10s. I guess I was close to giving those 10s. And I think, I think Brockhampton could pull out a 10. Maybe even Clarence Clarity. New Order's Republic is underrated. Chemical and Liar are great. Also, good call on orchestral maneuvers. But how did you know I like Echo and Bunnymen? I didn't know. I just sort of assumed. And what do I think for Tears for Fears and Vitalik? I never got into Vitalik. Tears for Fears are okay, like definitely not as consistent on the album side of things as like a New Order or a Duran Duran, but they're good. The hits are good. What do I think of Warehouse's last album? I didn't even hear it, honestly, so I cannot comment, but thank you, QT Brown, for the support. We've got like a half an hour left, guys. Questlove is in the house. Questlove, you are not in the house. I love that show. I love that show so much. I don't even know if I've watched the new season, if it's out. I've been watching the new season of Black Mirror, and listen, I got to say, I might do a review of it on the Fantano channel when I finish the season, and generally, I feel like this season sucks. I really fucking do. What do I think of Travis Scott in general as an artist? I know you liked Rodeo and didn't care for his other ones. I think as an artist, generally, he's pretty good, but I think he's kind of selling himself short and just kind of just doing some generic trap stuff rather than trying to advance and elevate in the way that he did on Rodeo. I hope his next album is good and actually just like kind of tries to go above and beyond, but I don't really know if that's going to be the case. Hey man, I sent you a couple of emails a while back about the experimental electronic group Amnesia Scanner. Was wondering if you had a chance to check. I haven't checked them out, but that actually sounds pretty interesting. Amnesia Scanner. I'll look that up. Have I ever stumbled upon any Russian music? Heard of Oxymoron? He is arguably the biggest hip-hop/battle rapper here, who is now quite famous abroad thanks to his epic battle rap with Disaster. Oh, I'll need to check that out. Is that on King of the Dot or something? Or where exactly did he do that? I will... Okay, here it is. Found it. I'll watch that later. Thank you very much for the suggestion. I was following the whole battle rap thing for a while, but then I kind of fell off. But if you're telling me that match was pretty good, I'll check it out. Hey, Anthony, thoughts on 2000s post-hardcore emo band Thursday? Never could get into Thursday at all. Like, as far as like the post-hardcore scene, I thought they were one of the weakest and one of the most commercial and one of the most boring bands out there, honestly. Possibility of a Beatles or Led Zeppelin worst to best. Very unlikely as of right now. Appreciated your Strokes karaoke night on Instagram. Yes, I did do a karaoke night where I did pretty much every song off of The Strokes' Is This It. Do not know what came over me, but I did do that, and I was insane for doing so. Did I hear the new Titus Andronica single? I haven't. Somebody was asking me about it earlier. I didn't even hear it. I didn't even know there was a new one. Thoughts on Barty or Cardi? I haven't tried that out either, but hopefully I do get to excuse me, some of this music in the new best worst tracks. Best wishes and Happy New Year despite the obstacles. You made it. Haha, smoking a doink in your honor, but it is not melon flavored. Well, hit me up when it's melon flavored then, You're messing up. You're messing up. Missed my last donation. I'm sorry about that. Anyway, is this it classics? I'm not going to review it for Classics Week this year, but I do think it is a classic. I think you should also check out a band called The Dows. Dahus. Guys, check that out. Tell me if The Dows are good. Okay, go check them out. 1 to 10, how much do you love Kyle Kalinske? Oh, man. Kyle Kalinske. I want to grab him. I want to grab Kyle Kalinske. I want to grab him. I want to squeeze him. And I want to hit him with that strong 9. I want, to the point where he fucking cries. He's like, no more. And I'm like, bam, Kyle, bam, hitting you with that strong 9, bitch. That's how much I love Kyle Kalinske, hitting him with the strong 9. Okay. I keep missing his live streams. He's doing live streams now, and I keep missing them. And I've been meaning to go over there and do a super chat in his live streams. But if I miss the next one, and you watch Kyle, make sure to do a super chat or sort of hit the chat up and make sure to tell him that I want to give him that strong 9. And he lives on the East Coast like I do, so it's possible. He can come over here, get that fucking strong 9 right now if he's into it. I may not be Kyle's type. Sorry for asking so many answers, but haven't had money to ask for a while. Questions have been building. What are your opinions on and favorite records from the Gaslight Anthem, Gojira, Reagan Youth, Rush, and Tool? Jesus Christ, man. Really? Tool and Anemia, because people hate it when I say it that way. Rush, probably 2112. Reagan Youth, can't say. Gojira, the one with the fucking whale on it. And I'm not really a big Gaslight Anthem guy, so I can't really say. Oh man, I'm just full of memes today. Missed my, got that one. Got that. Thoughts on underrated post-punk bands like The Chameleons / The Sound, Script of the Bridge, Strange Times, and Jeopardy are 3 of my favorite records ever. I haven't even fucking heard of these bands. But if you're telling me underrated post-punk bands, I'm into an underrated post-punk band, okay? So I'm gonna give that a shot. What do I think of Al Say? Did I hear the 2016 album Kodama? I did, and I didn't review it. I didn't really care for it. A lot of people were on my ass about that, but honestly, I thought it was one of his more generic records. Maybe not quite as overly atmospheric as some of the earlier stuff, but I don't know. It's just not one of my favorite atmospheric black metal projects. I think they're even better than Deaf Heaven, IMO. Honestly, I think they're definitely more consistent than Deaf Heaven. I think Deaf Heaven, Sunbather is good, but I think honestly it's a little bit of a fluke. You know what I mean? Like it's a great record. Don't get me wrong, it's a great record, but I don't think the follow-up was really all that good. I feel like the follow-up showed just how few ideas are there, whereas I feel like I'll say there's just always like some evolution going on there. There's always some new idea or something kind of popping up on a record, a new direction sort of, because this new record, it did sound a little bit more dry and raw, which was a nice change of pace, but it didn't really strike me as fantastic. Hey, I'm Anthony Woke Tano. I know you've caught onto the government's bullshit, whether it's their involvement in 9/11, keeping Big Pharma in power, etc. I could go on. Want to comment on this. Also, do you browse our conspiracy? Thanks. I don't. My wife is pretty heavy on the UFO stuff and the conspiracy theory stuff sometimes, though. Not super conspiratorial though. Although her and I were both like pretty amazed when we saw that that agency that Tom DeLonge of Blink-182 sort of fronts being mentioned in that government document. And I've been meaning to sort of look deeper into that because I thought his Joe Rogan interview was bullshit, but it seemed like, you know, there was actually some credibility to a lot of what he was saying. Although I wouldn't necessarily say the government is behind 9/11. I do think the government was, you know, key in sort of getting Al-Qaeda and Osama bin Laden to that point because they obviously were working with them against, you know, Soviet interests and that sort of thing. And honestly, it's like, I don't know if, you know, these things are as a result of conspiracy as much as they are just really shitty foreign policy, which I mean, the U.S. has been guilty of for a long fucking time. Oh, come on, man. Where are all these disappearing to? Got that. Did I get that? Okay. Hey man, Fantano, dropped an email about my band, Blonde Blood. I was wondering what you thought of the band Swimmers album. Also, Pinkerton is better than Blue. No, it's not. And the Swimmers album was okay. You know, definitely one of the better records on that label. You know, less annoying than most of the bands on that label. But I wasn't blown away by it or nothing. Oh, come on. Oh, Jesus Christ. You know, YouTube, can you fix this? Hey, Melon, could you help recommend a good record player under $200? I don't really think there's any record player that's good under $200, honestly. Like, if you want a good record player, go on one of my recent Best Worst Tracks videos. Hit up the Turntable Lab link. There are some somewhat affordable turntables there that are quality. And if you buy it through there, I'm going to get kickback from it. I would buy your turntable through there if you're going to buy a turntable. There are a couple affordable models in there, but nothing under $200. You know, if you want a good turntable, you're going to have to save up a little bit because a good turntable, it's an investment. It's not like a fucking Bluetooth speaker. It's not like, you know, something you just spend $100 on and it's great. You know what I mean? If you end up paying under $200 for any turntable, and, you know, I'm talking new, you know, maybe you'll find a good one that's used that you might need to tune up a little bit. You know, if you buy any turntable for under that price, you're buying it mostly for aesthetics, honestly. Like, the sound is not going to be that good. It's probably going to be really rickety. It's probably not going to be a very good build. A turntable is an investment. You're really going to want to almost overspend on it a little bit to get the best of the best so that years down the road, it's not breaking, you're not replacing it, it's not falling the fuck apart. So just keep that in mind. Top 3 The Cure albums. Would I ever do best or worst to them? Maybe. I would say Pornography. Kiss Me is probably in there. I feel like Kiss Me is underrated, honestly. I can't think of a third right now as far as what I would put in there. Thoughts on Ry Cooder. Never got huge into him. Not many people talk about him. He's one of my favorite guitarists. He is a talented guitarist. I just never really got deep into his discography, honestly. Like, I've heard a few tracks, but I haven't really gotten deep into his stuff. What do I think of Car Seat Headrest's Beach Life in Death? Also, has anything good ever come out of the Midwest regarding music beyond Chicago? I mean, I guess some of those Midwestern emo bands are really good, you know? So, I mean, I guess that's good music out of the Midwest. Out of the Midwest, I mean, is Indiana the Midwest? I'm guessing so, right? If I remember correctly, like if my geography isn't off. You know, Freddie Gibbs is from Indiana. Michael Jackson is from Indiana, if I believe, if I remember correctly. What do you think of deathcore as a genre? I notice you don't talk about much of it at all. I think as a genre, it's pretty shallow, but, you know, there's some good bands in there here and there. There's just not a whole lot of, but I also feel like deathcore is kind of past its prime. You know what I mean? Like, there's not a whole lot of interesting deathcore to cover. Hey, Anthony, what was your latest workout and what are your max lifts? Did you see my email about the novel I wrote about you? I did not see your email about the novel. I would have to email it back and I'll try to not see it. I'll try to not miss it. What was my latest workout? My latest workout I think I did was just a back workout, so I wasn't trying to max out on anything. I was just doing like pull-ups and curls and shit. And shrugs. shrugging those 110-pound dumbbells. Oh, come on. So aggravating. Thoughts on 16 horsepower? I cannot. All my coworkers play as Hollywood Undead and Five Finger Death Punch. Oh, gross. Is it possible to get into these bands? Any recommendation for a middle ground? I don't know, man. Maybe suggest some bad nu metal or something that's tolerable in comparison to the fucking Hollywood Undead. Jesus Christ. Or maybe like ICP, the Great Malenko. Hey, Melon, do I have a favorite double XL freshman cipher? And why was it Hobson's? That one with Little B was pretty great. Kendrick's cipher was pretty great. And that cipher with 21 Savage and Denzel Curry and all that shit, like that was pretty fantastic too. Those are probably some of my favorites. How capable do I think Childish Gambino is as an artist? I think he's capable. Has my opinion of him changed through the years? Any regrets? I mean, not really on his older stuff, but I think his latest record is his best so far, and I think it's really good. Although it seems like he's really kind of bogged down with the whole writing thing. I don't know if he's going to continue doing music. I hope he does, because I do think his latest record is his best. And looking forward to possibly seeing him continue down that road. Hey, Anthony Fanti, did I listen to the new Faceless album? I did not. I really love it, and I need someone to validate my opinion. Hey, okay, I did not hear it. And the Faceless are so not my bag. But I'm going to try to do exactly that right now. Listen, I'm sure that Faceless album, I'm sure it sounds like a good usual Faceless album. I'm sure it's enjoyable. I'm sure it's really noodly and really finely produced and very technical. And I'm sure you enjoy that. And I'm sure the vocals are brutal. And I'm sure you're having a lot of fun listening to it. I'm validating your enjoyment of it. I love you, and I hope you enjoy listening to that record for the rest of your life. Say my username, Melon. Maidenmex. I said it. Yo, Anthony, I know you weren't into John Frusciante's latest releases. I was not. But what did I think of his past releases, The Empyrean especially? I actually think The Empyrean's pretty epic. And what do I think of hardcore bands like Trapped Under Ice? Never really got into Trapped Under Ice, so I can't comment, but I do think The Empyrean is a pretty ambitious record for John. Hey, Antoine, love the channel. I have a few classic suggestions. Flying Lotus, Los Angeles, Brewers of Canada, Music Has Right, Aphex, Saw, Daft Punk. I am actually going to do a Daft Punk classic review. You caught me. I think all those are generally very good, though. Thoughts on Voodoo by D'Angelo. Excellent record. Very funky and sexy. Have I considered making a Patreon for that as the plan? I did, but honestly, I feel bad fielding money for shitposts. Halsey is Alt AF. Fuck you. Well, fuck you too. How come I haven't reviewed Spose? Any thoughts on the passing of MF Doom's son? I mean, the passing of his son is very sad. I guess though I do feel fortunate that he felt the will and the ability to share that information, though, with his fans. Doom is obviously a very private person who doesn't, throw a lot of personal information out there very easily and very quickly. And, I feel for the guy. It breaks my heart, honestly. And that's really all I have to say about it. I just wish him, it's always going to hurt, you know what I mean? But, I wish him a speedy emotional recovery. And I haven't reviewed Spose because I haven't really gotten into Spose, honestly. Do I like the Grateful Dead? Not really. Not really. I can't, and I just feel like it's just, I don't know. There's not enough bite to it for me personally. Hey, Cuckboy, I was wondering, what are your thoughts on Emma Forever Ago by Bon Iver? I know that you didn't like their last two projects. I mean, it's his best, in my opinion. That and like the follow-up EP, I think are very good. Although generally, he's not my favorite indie folkster, What does King Cruel need to do to get back into your good graces? I mean, I feel like he needs to go back to just the fundamentals of songwriting, honestly. My name is Kyle, not Kyler. What, in your opinion, is the best movie score, and who is the most talented film composer? I think Morricone is definitely one of the most talented and amazing out there. Vangelis is pretty fantastic too. I would say those two are probably two of the best. Although, you know, like, obviously there are really essential compositions as far as like the Star Wars composition, Indiana Jones, you know, all those big, big Spielberg films and that sort of thing. So, I'm not knocking the orchestral stuff or anything like that. That's very good too. I'm trying to think of what else. I'm sort of still having a brain fart. Oh, the Social Network soundtrack is pretty good too. Let's see. Anthony, do I think progressive rock is having a bit of a resurgence or renaissance? Steven Wilson, Elder, Wobbler, and so on have all released good shit. I haven't heard of Wobbler. I really haven't heard of Wobbler. I thought Steven Wilson's new record sucked. And it was actually one of his least proggy albums. Like, it wasn't even that flashy of a record. I've not heard of this band Wobbler. I'll give it a shot. But the new Elder record is very good. But I wouldn't necessarily say I think that's as a result of a prog renaissance or anything. You know what I mean? Ever heard of the band Dawes? I have not. If not, please check them out. Thank you very much, Roman. No, I've not heard of Dawes. First 4 records are outstanding. If fans send you music they made, do I typically take the time to listen to it? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Depends on whether or not I have the time to and how many emails I've been sent. And whether or not it seems like that person has their shit together. You know, I don't really just kind of listen to whatever random demo people send my way. I mean, if somebody has sent me music and it seems like they put a lot of time into the album art, the sequencing, and it looks like a very well put together package and not just some dumbass single fucking song on SoundCloud with a picture of somebody's ass as the album art, then, I tend to try to give stuff a shot. If it seems like somebody is like really kind of put in the time to put together what looks like a somewhat marketable product. If that ends up being the case, then I, typically end up trying to make the time to try stuff out. But, I don't just try out anything that people send me. Will Young Thug ever release a 10, and why has he already done it with Slime Season? I disagree that he has, and honestly, I don't really think he ever will, because I think he's very much quantity over quality, and I don't see him changing that anytime soon. Will I be excited for the new Law Dispute record? Maybe. Here are your 2 choices. Take off your glasses or give me a refund. What am I giving you a refund for? Do I have to keep my glasses off? Because they are prescription and they're kind of helping me read the screen right now. Hey man, I was wondering, what are your opinions of synth pop bands like The Midnight and Gunship? I'm loving in the return of it, and I do not know why. I haven't even heard those bands. Are they newer bands bringing the synth pop sound back? Maybe they're good. I can't say I've gotten into them, but a lot of 80s synth pop stuff, totally love it. More music like Machine Girl. I really enjoyed his newest album, especially when it got slowed down. I would look into digital hardcore. Look up the genre digital hardcore, and you will most likely find some more stuff like Machine Girl. Atari Teenage Riot. Have I listened to the artist Healy? If so, what do I think of the album Sublux? I have not. Also, did I listen to the new Static Selecta? I didn't, although I did hear a few tracks from it. Hey, Antoine, my little brother has a question. His name is Chubbs. What is the best Red Hot Chili Peppers album? It is Sex Magic, of course, with no fucking question. Don't want to miss this. Hey, Melon, are you going to review the new Rosenstock? Yes, I will. I get what you mean but you're wrong about the last 2 HHA records. And off the cuff, Weezer worst to best. Obviously, there are exceptions, but generally, Weezer worst to best. And favorite Tool album is Anemia. I know that I'm saying that wrong. I'm doing it on purpose. Weezer generally worst to best is the first record is the best, and generally as you go down the list, the albums get worse and worse and worse. The 2 exceptions to that are the White Album and the precursor to the White Album, though the new record is terrible too. So generally that's the Weezer worst to best. We got like 13 minutes left. Off the top of your head, 5 of your favorite albums you put on a pedestal. I don't know, like Remain in Light, Pink Flag, 36 Chambers, The Money Store, To Pimp a Butterfly. Did I catch that Jai Paul album back in 2013? I did, but I didn't think it was very good. I just thought it was like kind of messy and underwhelming, and very demo quality. I didn't care for it, and I didn't see the hype behind it. Although I am kind of excited for this new label thing he's got going. Maybe we're going to hear a solo record in the future, a proper one. Sometimes I feel like Vince Staples is the new Kanye West. Other times I think he's a 6. Does this confirm my suspicions? I don't know if Vince is the new Kanye. I feel like he's not as versatile as Kanye, you know? Kanye is really kind of in a lot of ways the total package. And Vince, to me, he's a talented rapper, but I don't know if he's really more than a talented rapper. You know, all the credit to the dude in the world. I know if he ever heard me saying this, he'd probably say some butthurt shit about it on fucking Twitter. You know, I know back in the day, like he used to like me, but now I don't think he fucks with me at all. And I'm not sure why, but you know, for whatever reason, it's whatever. But yeah, I don't really think he's as versatile enough to be the new Kanye. No question. Just wanted to say that your vinyl thingies work great. Thank you very much, Daniel. By thingies, do you mean slip mats? Can you chill with the hard R melon? At least wait until hard R Friday. I don't even know what you're talking about. Hey, Anthony. Yeah, I did that one. I did that one. Would I agree that MU is utter cancer? I don't know if it's utter cancer. It's actually kind of less cancerous than most of the boards on 4chan. But every board on 4chan is cancer. So, I mean, I think they're probably standard cancer. Opinions on Stadium Arcadium by Red Hot Chili Peppers. I think some of their best material is on it, but it's a little overloaded, in my opinion. Melon, please, you missed my 5 and 10. Well, I mean, I'm sorry, but I don't know what your question is. Now I'm seeing it. I mean, I would just try to throw it back in there again, although maybe I'll try to go down toward the end of the thing and try to see some ones I missed. Hey, Anthony, how do you feel about Jonathan Colton? Assuming I haven't heard of him, so I can't say. Hey, Anthony, fabulous. I went to Weenie Hut Jr. on Double Weenie Wednesday, but they said it's been moved to Friday. Where should I eat? I'm fucking starving. I don't know. Eat. Just go to the grocery store and get some grocery. It's not midnight yet. So go to the grocery store or something. Or go get a bean burrito at Taco Bell. I don't know. Songs where you like the demo over the finished version? Ooh, that's a good question. Although I can't even think of a recent example. I don't know. I can't even think of a recent example, but that's a good fucking question. You know, there are tracks like off of the name of this band is Talking Heads that I prefer like the live versions over the studio versions. You know what I mean? Off their first handful of records. Hey, Anthony, speaking of the whole music in the Midwest thing, I play in Midwest Mutts in Springfield, MO, and the scene is pretty sweet for a small town. Do I go to smaller shows in your town? I used to more often, but not that much anymore. Maybe when things settle down, I'll have the free time and I'll do it. Did I get a new shelf and may I see it? I did. It's not in this room, though. I can't just grab my whole desktop and bring it over there. But if you want to see a picture of it, it's on my Instagram. My Instagram name is afantano. And there's a picture of it there. And the next time I do a vinyl update, I'll talk about the shelf. Have I heard of Long Awaited Journey by Alan Moore? If not, I highly recommend you check him out. He is incredibly talented. Okay. I will take that recommendation, put it in my pocket. What is more offensive, rape lines on murder lines? How do I feel about men's rights? If Sun Kill Moon did a song with 21 Savage, would it be boring? A Sun Kill Moon with 21 Savage song would be pretty interesting. How do I feel about men's rights? It's not really a fight that I'm interested in personally, and I'm not exactly sure what rights men are fighting for that they don't already have. I mean, maybe... I hear them constantly bring up things like more fair decisions in divorce court, you know, although I haven't personally experienced any of those things myself, so I can't really say. I'm not really well versed on the topic. And what is more offensive, rape lines or murder lines? I don't know. Rape and murder are both pretty fucking terrible, you know, honestly. Like, I get the offense over rape lines, but I feel like we just sort of look at murder as like so callously in music. You know, I feel like it's all pretty bad, but I feel like I don't feel like it's necessarily a bad thing to address gritty or nasty or real or sort of edgy topics in music, you know? I feel like if you're going to be offended by one, you really should be offended by both. I mean, murder's pretty fucking heinous. Have I heard the new Together Pangea album? I haven't, so I can't comment on it. Favorite comedy music peeps? Bo Burnham and Weird Al, probably my favorites. And I guess Neil Cicerega, I guess, or some of the SoundCloud boys. And Flight of the Conchords are pretty fun. Anthony, have I listened to Lido? He produced a decent part of Sire, and his debut album was easily one of the best of 2016. I think I have, but I didn't know he produced so much off of Sire. That's pretty interesting. Please stop coughing, Melon. I can't help it. I'm sick. Leave me alone. Hey, man, I love your stuff. What do I think of Go Go Bordello? When they first came on the scene, excellent band. Now I think they've kind of turned into a gimmick, though. Unfortunately, which sucks, but, you know, it happens. It friggin' happens. All right, so there are 5 minutes left. Excuse me. I'm coughing again, just to spite you. I'm going to try to see if I can get a few questions in here that people suggested that I missed. I know you guys aren't going to be able to see the whole question. Let me just move myself over so you can barely see me, of course, because that makes sense. But favorite shoegaze album, probably, you know, Loveless. Would I at all be interested in voicing a character for a YouTube cartoon? Where can I contact you about this? Anthony@theneedledrop.com. That's my email. Contact me about that shit. I might be interested in that, depending if the animation and all that is good. Toonbog. That's interesting. It has been my dream to voice animations. That has been a dream of mine. So, you know, hit me up if I like the animation, if I like the stories and everything, then I may be down. And, you know, let's see. Got that. Opinion on Living Color Skunk and Anise and Seven Dust. I am not a big Seven Dust fan, honestly. And I can't even comment on the first thing that you're asking me about. I can't say. Arctic Monkeys or Oasis? Like Oasis all the fucking way. City and Color is okay. Top 5 rappers currently, probably Kendrick, Bus Driver, Open Mike Eagle, Big Crit, all the Brockhampton boys. Thoughts on Wand? Wand are okay. You know, not really one of my favorite psych or garage bands out there right now. What does the tombstone tattoo on your chest mean? Oh God, I never do this shit. I never talk about my tattoos. I feel like it's so dumb. Cause it's all this shit only ever means something to me, and everybody's just like, "Oh, your tattoo's stupid. That's stupid." And it's like, I don't give a fuck if you think it's stupid. I get these tattoos for me. That's why they all fit under my clothes. You fucking asshole. But anyway, my tattoo says I'm asleep because that's when I'm gonna sleep, when I'm fucking dead. So yeah, there's my stupid tombstone tattoo. And yes, it's supposed to look all gnarly and ugly like a dumbass looking jail tattoo. That's what it's supposed to look like, you retard. Okay, what record player would you suggest for under $500? There's some pretty good Audio Technicas for under $500. I would look into that. Why did I break up the Drunken Peasants? Did they break up? I broke them up. Did they just do that? I'm not even following it. If they have, I'm sorry. Hey man, oh wait, hold on. 2 choices. Got that one. Thank you very much. Roman, favorite Filthy Frank video? Good question. Probably the anime one. The anime one's amazing. The anime one is classic. You know, like the Weeaboo one, like the anime Weeaboo one. If TND were an 80s cartoon, would Hobson be the recurring villain? Much love, Melon. I guess Hobson would be a fun recurring villain. Yes, I guess we could say Hobson. Hobson would be a fun recurring villain. Let's see. I actually got a surprising amount of these. What are your thoughts on A Dose of Buckley, and do I think he overreacts like an angsty high school teacher whenever he reviews pop music on his channel? Yeah, he's kind of a whiny bitch, you know, and I feel like the only reason he gets away with it is because when he does it in this big manly voice. But yeah, he's kind of a whiny bitch. Let's see. I made a promise to Austin that I was going to be less confrontational this year, and apparently I'm not keeping that promise. I'm broke as fuck, but here is what I can do for you, Chrome Dome. Thoughts on harsh noise / power electronics? Generally, I think it's great. I think it's really exhilarating and thrilling. However, it's also very one-dimensional and it really kind of paints itself stylistically into a corner. You know, Prurient is great. Pharmacon, I think, is good, you know, but is also kind of an example of how redundant the genre can turn if you don't work in enough kind of variations into your compositions. Excuse me. Favorite Mexican band? I don't. I forget if they're Mexican. No, they're not from Mexico. I don't even know off the top of my head. I suck. I suck at listing off Mexican bands. I apologize. Let's see. Would I ever review Stop Making Sense as a film for a Classics Week special? That would be pretty interesting. Thoughts on Long Season / Fishman's? Fishman's, great texture, great colors. Orally, amazing. Like A-U-R-A-L-O-Y, not orally with an O. Could I upload a few more of the serious That Is the Plan videos? They meant a lot. We're going to try to. We should be able to. What is my general opinion on Wolfpack? You know, I thought I was going to be totally hot on their new album, but honestly, like, while the guest features on there definitely made the record interesting, I do feel like it still does kind of feel like elevator music to me. It feels like elevator funk, you know? It's okay. It's just okay. I don't know how to differentiate quality-wise since I'm new to this. Also, thoughts on G.G. Allen? Yeah, G.G. Allen was a fucking madman. Let me see. Got that. I hit upon a surprising amount of these. What are your thoughts on immersive sim? I haven't even gotten into immersive sim. I can't even say. What good, my home skilly vegan biscuit, aka La Melon? What is your opinion of Seven Dust, Living Color, and Skunk? You know, that's the next Skunk. I need to, honestly, I've not even heard them. Again, Seven Dust, not a big fan, but Living Color, actually underrated band, honestly. Underrated fucking band, Living Color. Really good band. Skunk, I have not gotten into at all. I'm going to save this suggestion and sort of see if I dig them. Yeah, I've never gotten into this band. I've never even heard of them before this live stream where you guys are suggesting them. Let's see. But yeah, if you guys haven't heard Living Color, please do. Great band. Thoughts on Pavement? I mean, very good slacker rock band. Oh boy. Oh God. Oh God. Oh, I hope today is the worst of this and that tomorrow it's done. God. the sniffles are making me miserable. Let's see. I actually got quite a few of these. Tangerine, I got that. Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang. That's good. That's good. Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang. Oh shit, I'm missing new ones up here. Favorite music to drink to or favorite drink? Favorite drink is water or pomegranate juice. I don't even drink alcohol. I'm a total loser. What is your opinion on Filthy Frank being done with YouTube to focus entirely on music? Do I agree with supporters' decision? I actually think it's smart. Music sort of seems to be a new creative outlet for him, and he actually seems to be succeeding at it quite a bit, to the point where I feel like he's gaining an altogether new fan base doing music that he didn't have before doing Filthy Frank. And YouTube right now is making it impossible for a creator of his magnitude to actually succeed on the platform. So I think he's doing the right thing. I think he's totally doing the right thing. Will I be at the Brockhampton concert in February? Possibly. Thoughts on System of a Down and their potential new album that will probably never happen. I mean, I hope that they have a new album coming out eventually at some point. System of a Down, one of the better bands in alternative metal. First two records are excellent. Fucking excellent. And amazing, fantastic, just excellent records. Although I'm not anticipating a new record from them would be good. A lot of their recent stuff has been very off, in my opinion. Oh, missing new ones up here. Favorite artist, past or present, off of the Rhymesayers label, and why? Oh, that's a good question. I'm not even aware of the entire Rhymesayers roster. Like, I know some of the artists on there, but I'm not even aware of the entire roster. I mean, Atmosphere is probably like the most notable artist on there, but oh yeah, I guess MF Doom had stuff out on there too. And Brother Ali is on there too. So I mean, MF Food is on there. I actually forgot about that. I mean, so I guess it would have to be MF Doom, second to older Atmosphere stuff. Then maybe like putting Brother Ali and POS after that. But yeah, those are probably my favorites on the record label. I actually forgot what came out on there. I haven't heard the new Quicksand, so that's probably why I didn't review it. How do I feel about Macklemore taking Foxy Shazam's Eric Nally under his wing? I'm not a fan of it, but I hope it makes Foxy famous when they return. I don't think it's a bad thing, you know, music promotion. Favorite Filthy Frank video? I said before, but the anime/weeaboo one I think is great. Also, thank you so much for showing me To Pimp a Butterfly. That ish changed my life. Well, I love you. Thoughts about Sublime? And you should review 40 Ounce to Freedom for Classics Week. I probably should. And you know, I think they're good. I was talking about them earlier and saying that you know, of the many artists out there who are fusing elements of reggae and folk and rock and hip hop all together into a gumbo, they were definitely one of the better ones, you know, and it's just kind of a shame about the fact that the band had to stop when they did. And maybe I should do a Sublime review at some point, because I do get a lot of fucking questions during these live streams about Sublime. It probably makes sense to do a Sublime classic review at some point. Where can I get a comfy flannel like yours? I mean, you could probably get one at Target or like at Cabela's. Lots of thick, comfy flannels over there. Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, guys, I think I do have to cut it short though because it does look like I got a great deal of these. Oh wait, hold on. Yeah, okay, I got this person's. I did get that question. Hey, Poppy, what are your opinion on Clyro and Steve Lacy? Also, thanks for introducing me to Brockhampton. You know, I've been reading more about Steve Lacy lately. I haven't been super crazy about the solo music that I've heard from him, but I find his process really interesting, and I love the fact that he is somebody who, you know, believes in this idea that it's not necessarily about the equipment that you're working with, but it's just like what your ideas are and what, you know, sort of your production abilities are. And, you know, sort of like how creative you are with working with what little you have. I've always admired and have loved artists who take that approach. You know, to me, that's what things like, you know, lo-fi have always been about. You know, working with what little you have to make something really cool and unique. So I do sort of really admire him as a creator, given that that's kind of like his outlook. Still pretty upset about the Hiatus Coyote review. Has that album grown on you at all? No, it has not. Also, favorite album covers of the last 10 years? I can't really say, honestly, off the top of my head. But I cannot say that the Hiatus Coyote has really grown on me. In your Why You Know review for January of 2016, you said that you didn't listen to Panic at the Disco's Doab. I think you should give it I think you could give it a listen unless you have. I don't know. Can you do a review of our One True Lord, Crazy Frog? That would be a 0 out of 0. Although it would also be a classic review because Crazy Frog is highly influential. Have I heard of Agent Fresco, prog math rock band from Iceland? I haven't, but you guys tell me if it's good. Agent Fresco, hit me up. Tell me if that Agent Fresco is good. Oh, here's a few more new ones. Best Florida rapper Anonymous recently dropped a new track called Motorola, and I think you should try it. Okay? Hey, Anthony, has Everything Now by Arcade Fire grown on you? Not really, but I still do like the few tracks on it I enjoyed a lot. Best movie of 2017, Drink Alcohol, You Idiot. I've watched so few movies in 2017, I fucking suck. Like, honestly, like I fucking fucked up on not watching movies this year. But so is my wife too, and she's like the movie buff. We're actually like trying to make more of an effort to actually watch some fucking movies in 2018. Have I ever listened to Tennyson, Buttress, or Sakura Burst? And if so, what are your thoughts on them? I have not, so I cannot comment, but still thank you for the support. Paranoid or College Dropout as that spare classic. Also, thoughts on the movie Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. I've never even seen Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. That's how shitty your boy is at fucking watching movies, honestly. Like, I fucking have not seen fucking shit for movies. Like, honestly. Like, I just listen to music all day. That's what I do, man. That's what I fucking do. You know, you guys ask me all the time, like, how do you listen to so music? How do you listen to so much music? How do you listen to so much music? Well, it's like, you know, I'm kind of doing it at the sacrifice of other things. So when you guys ask me, hey, what have you seen this movie? Most likely, more often than not, it's no. I have not seen that movie. I've not seen that movie at all. I've not read that book. I've not played that video game, and I have not had that other life experience that most people are having. And it's because I'm listening to music instead. And which, honestly, I'm happy with. I love listening to music. I love being in a position where I can just immerse myself in music and just do that all day, and just have that be my thing. Like that's kind of really all I ever want to do, you know. So while in some ways it does suck, it is kind of where I want to be, you know. Hey, Streamthany, greetings from Clinton, Connecticut. Have you heard of Asteroids Galaxy Tour, and what do I think of them? I have not, so I cannot comment. Thoughts on Deer in Gray? They're pretty cool, honestly. William Band, thank you very much. If I didn't say that already, I apologize. Re-review My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, you flippin' fogey. Maybe one day. And I think that's it, guys. Those are all of them. All right, guys. This has been a good live stream. Thank you very much for everything. You're the best. You're the best. You're the best. Let me get this chat back over here. Does Good Kid, Mad City count as a movie? I think so. I think it's an auditory movie. Oh wait, hold on a second. This guy says some ish. Donated 15, still skipped Melon, but like I tried to say, check out the Tropicalia movement that arose during the 1960s. I highly recommend the self-titled Os Mutantes. I have heard them, and I'm vaguely familiar with that movement, but I can't say I've gotten into it really deeply. Thank you very much. Sorry I skipped it. Hopefully I got you right there. What do I think about Deftones? I think they're okay. Who should run against Trump in 2020? I think Bernie Sanders should run against Trump, or Elizabeth Warren should run against Trump. Do hot ones. I don't know. If I get invited to do hot ones, I will do hot ones. I don't just... You don't just invite yourself onto hot ones. You don't just say, I'm going to be on hot ones, and then just show up and you're just like, okay, here you go. Like, they invite you to be on hot ones. So, I mean... If you want me to be on hot ones, then fucking tell them. Tell them you want to see me on hot ones, and then maybe they'll do something about it. But I can't really be on hot ones unless they invite me. So, favorite hentai? Yeah, it's I don't really have a favorite hentai. Let's see. Tim Blue for the win. Opinion on Ride? They're okay. Best Green Day album? It's Dookie. Holy fuck, Chat Explosion, I know, right? Immortal Technique. Yeah, I mean, he had some good records back in the day. What do I think of JIDK? He's okay. Okay, guys, listen, I'm sick as fuck, so I need to head out. You're the best and I love you. I'm glad we had a good stream and I got to most of everything. I will catch you guys the following Thursday. Not this coming Thursday, but the Thursday after that, okay? New Why You Know review should be dropping tomorrow. Jeff Rosenstock review soon. Then Classics Week, and then after that, new reviews. And we're just getting back to it as usual. Make sure to subscribe to youtube.com/Fantano if you haven't already. We're trying to get that channel to 500K this year. And, you know, I talk about music industry stuff and other commentary stuff on that channel. It's a fun channel. It's a little potpourri. My last $2 phasers, thank you very much. It's a little bit of a potpourri channel, but, you know, still a very good channel, and we're getting a lot of views on there recently. Seems like we've kind of hit a bit of a sweet spot with content creation on there that people are really liking. And it kind of has a different tone than that of the Needle Drop. And it's a little more unpredictable. You know, it doesn't quite have the routine that the Needle Drop does. And do Joe Rogan. If Joe Rogan invites me, I swear I will do Joe Rogan. It's if someone invites me to a thing, I'll do a thing. But I have to be invited. You don't just show up at Joe Rogan and just be like, okay, Joe, interview me, Joe. It doesn't really work that way. All right, you guys are the best. I'll talk to you later.